Emily. Welcome everyone. I'm still on Route 66 now in eastern Missouri, and I'm going to Meramec Caverns. We're about 40 miles west of St. Louis at one of the most popular caves in the country, Meramec Caverns. This cave has been a tourist attraction since 1933. Rumor has it Jess James and his criminal entourage used the cave to hide from the authorities. This area also has a campground and areas for canoeing and swimming. This building also has the entrance to the cave, a gift shop, and a restaurant. We've been looking forward to visiting for a while now, well before planning this Route 66 trip.
Area right over here, and right over here there was a large wooden platform where people would dance the night away. Now if everybody could take a look up at the ceiling for me and the surrounding walls. This right here is a type of stone called dolomite. Dolomite is about 8 times denser than the concrete we are currently standing on, and it is non-porous. This is our ballroom, stripping the saltpeter off of the walls and the floor and using it to make a crude form of black gunpowder. However, this cave and the surrounding area was actually Confederate territory at the time, so when the Confederates found out that the Union was in one of their caves making gunpowder of all things, they did not take too kindly to it. So a Confederate general hired a guerrilla war-fighting group by the name of the Quantrill Raiders to come in here and get the Union forces out. And that's exactly what they did. And we like to mention the Quantrill Raiders because of 2 very important people that rode with them, Jesse and Frank James. This is how we believe they first gained knowledge about the cave. It was built in 1956 by a group of high school students for a local science fair. Now, what this contraption is supposed to do, it is supposed to measure the Earth's rotation on a 24-hour period, swinging just like this, just like you see it, and it very, very slowly changes directions. And if you would observe it 6 hours later, you would see that it would be swinging like this in a completely different direction. And again, very, very slowly it would be turning and changing directions. It keeps this ball from coming to the ground. And the original hinging, you can still see a piece of it up there right next to it. The original hinging was actually made of cast iron. And if you know anything about cast iron in a damp and wet environment, such as a cave, you're going to know that it doesn't do too well. And it did not. The original hinging actually rusted shut, and then when someone tried to push the ball, it cracked and fell to the floor, bringing our pendulum down with it. Here would have been the end of your tour. You would have paid a whopping 5 cents back at the ticket booth in the Grand Ballroom, and by that point your tour would already be halfway over. You would walk to this point here, look around, turn around, and walk right back out. It was so much fun. This is because the upper and lower levels were not discovered yet. The upper levels because this massive doorway right up here was no more than a crevice on this right side of the wall that was about the size of the palm of your hand. Suspecting tour guides found after stumbling around in the dark. Minus the wax figures, those boys were added a lot later. Now, like I said, there were originally 26 artifacts found, but the majority of them were put into storage for preservation reasons. And this right down here is what we got left in this small pile. We have 2 old gun barrels, a lantern used for exploration in this area, and a loot crate. Now that crate right there is what I'm going to spend my time talking about. When it was discovered, this crate was found to have 2 things on it, a logo and a serial number. And when Lester Dill noticed this, he did some research and found that they led back to a payroll company, but not only that, it also led back to a police report of a train robbery committed by these 2 handsome gentlemen right here, Jesse and Frank James. And as the story goes, they had robbed the train and they were back in our division room, essentially counting their dollar bills, when a couple of locals noticed the bandits come into the cave and reported them to the sheriff. Now the sheriff had the bright idea to To try and arrest the two men, he was going to starve them out of the cave. So he set up a barricade at the entrance, thinking there was no other way in or out of the cave, and the brothers must come out at some point for food and water. And 3 days later, when nobody came out, him and his men charged on in and found nothing but the gang's horses stumbling around in the dark. They grabbed everything they could, they grabbed everything that they deemed necessary and valuable, and escaped on our underground river. Now, this river actually goes on for about a quarter of a mile more before emptying out into the Meramec, and that is how the brothers escaped. Sorry, because I just spoiled every single episode ever made. Fossils in our entire cave system, and in fact it's the biggest. That is fossilized algae, and it's the only type of fossil we have in our cave, so there's no dinosaur bones down here. But you can see there's a little patch right up here, and another one right there, but that one's the biggest, so that's the one that I can.
Maybe that big moss growing with the water. There's probably any kind of plant life we'll see growing down there.
Oh wow, look at that.
Looks like our catfish out of the 80s. Stalactites and stalagmites. Look.
This is what it does to your hair. I promise it's all.
Look at that
I can't make that. I've got a head full of hair, so I can't.
Oh wow.
I got a question for our ranger.
It's just the water there. Yeah, there was actually like a formation for a stalactite on the ceiling right here, but when they knocked it down for construction, they found like blue stone inside. Which it is sad that they knocked the formation down, but it's pretty darn cool what they found inside. There's one right there.
I noticed that it's like water there. The ceiling and like is that natural?
It is, yes, it's all natural.
How does that? I mean, it's almost like
It's almost a perfect circle.
it's almost kind of.
I don't know exactly, but it has something to do with the way that the cave was formed. There's spaghetti room, is what they call it. Now, these formations on the ceiling, these are called speleothems, or soda straw formations, due to their thin and hollow structure. Now, these form when calcified water seeps through the surface of the limestone ceiling, and it has nowhere to go. So it sits there and calcifies for years and years and years and years. Exact or even an approximate, but I can tell you the growth rate for some of those formations back there. On average, it can take between 60 to 100 years for those formations to grow 1 cubic inch. So, a very, very long time.
It looks like 60 to 100 years in that. So it's only like your whole life, like 60 years or a little bit.
Really what you're going to do is
Helpful things to grow. So is it going to take more time?
or our miniature Grand Canyon. When the ceiling in this room is illuminated, it reflects onto the surface of the clear water below it. Making it see 150 feet. But I promise you it's not. It's only about a foot, give or take a couple inches. And the cool thing about this solution, when you start right down here, it does look like it's very deep. But as you system. In fact, it's one of the largest in the entire world. Onyx Mountain here stands at about 27 feet tall, 500 feet across, and based on its current growth rate, it is estimated to be 33 million years old. And if you guys look way up at the top, if you look closely, you can see this formation is actually cut off its own water source. That's what gives it this rusty brown color all along this side. But we are getting ready to go into the upper active side of Onyx Mountain. So feel free to give a whistle or whatever. All right, and if you could, I would like to show you all something pretty cool. I would like to show you our. And I hope you all like holidays because we've got a couple on the docket for today. First, we've got Christmas, St. Patrick's Day, 4th of July, Valentine's Day, and finally, our personal favorite here at Meramec Caverns, Halloween. Alright, so whenever you folks are ready, squeeze through here, squeeze me. Whenever you guys are ready, you can follow me down this opposite side of the room. Alright guys, so welcome to our wine room. I don't know if I should apologize because there's no actual alcohol up here or not. Yeah, so you guys can see and by the technical definition, this formation is not freestanding. But there's a story behind this metal pole and why it's here. Back in the 1950s, there was a group of Boy Scouts that broke in after we had closed, and they decided they were going to make our one-of-a-kind Ragonite formation their jungle gym for the evening. And they snapped poor Mr. Llama's neck right in this area right over here. If you guys look closely, you can see some concrete reinforcement we had to add right there, and this metal pole. Now, like I said, Ragonite formations only grow when completely submerged underwater. So this is not hindering the formation whatsoever. It's just here to make sure that two Ragonite formations don't become one. At about 17 feet long. And when Lester Dill first discovered it way back in the 30s, he thought that it was so wicked and evil and absolutely vile looking, so he named it after a family member. Since then, though, we've just been calling it the mother-in-law. Not very nice. Now, we call this our theater room for this massive stage curtain-like formation right up here. This stands at about 75 feet tall, 65 feet wide, and at its thickest point, it's about 30 feet thick. You can also see that this stage comes fit with the full backstage space right over here. And if you were to take that all the way around, you would end up at our natural curtain starting over to the left. You can also see featured down below our 12 feet deep sunken orchestra pit, complete with a little waterfall. Sorry folks, the band didn't make it today. And if everybody will look up, you will see our balcony seating for those busier summer days and nights, complete with a stalactite chandelier. Now, this room does have some history to it, as every room in our cavern system does. Back in the late 1940s, the governor of Missouri came and held mock legislation in our grand ballroom. And naturally, as he was here, he did decide to take a tour. And he loved it so much that he left two parting gifts with us on his way out. The first was a hand-painted light bulb that showed displayed right up here on top of our, displayed the American flag right up here on top of our stage curtain. The second gift was a singer by the name of Kate Smith. Kate Smith was one of the original singers of God Bless America, and she stood right here in our natural curtain starting and performed that very song for anybody who came and took a Kate tour. Now sadly, the light bulb did almost burn out in the late 90s, early 2000s, so we did have to go ahead and take that out of our show, but we replaced it with this pretty cool automated show way back in 2016, so long ago. Now our show is getting ready to start, so I would like to dedicate this performance to any and all military service members, past, present, future. Your service is greatly appreciated.
And that's it. One more stop for a bite to eat in St. Louis, and then we will spend the first 3 days of July in the great state of Illinois, ending in Chicago. If you like this video, please give it a huge thumb up and tell all your friends. Please subscribe to my channel and ring that notification bell. Thanks for watching! Bye!